All right, Winston, yes, I'm alive.
Yes, yay.
Mike, Karen, and Winston here with Fridays Forever. In case you didn't know, I had a massive heart attack.
In November 18th. Yes.
Yeah, I was, what we wanted to do is kind of tell you our story, the journey. Hopefully we won't get too long here, but it's raining out in East Tennessee. We got some heat on here in the van,
Yes.
and we thought we'd just take a few minutes and share with you our story.
And a lot of you are waiting to hear it, and so thank you for all your patience and kindness and care and the cards you've sent us, and those of you who have helped tangibly. And prayer is the most important gift you gave us.
Absolutely.
And you still give us, so thank you.
I'm definitely a miracle. So we want to share that journey, give you a glimpse into our future recordings and here in the van toward the end of the video, so you can kind of know what's going to be happening and transpiring with all of that. But you want to kick things off? I mean, I can share that I had gone to eat lunch with the kids. It was Grandparents' Day, and started feeling a lot of pain in my chest. I thought it was just indigestion, and turns out it was not just indigestion, but it was much worse.
Yes.
And while we want to share as many details as we can, you know, we want to be vulnerable in that area. And obviously, you guys can ask questions. We can't promise we'll answer. You know, some things are pretty sensitive to us. But anyway.
Yes, So, as far as day one, November 18th, 2025, Mike ended up, I knew he didn't feel good, but he ended up driving himself to a local hospital, walking the ER just barely, right?
Yeah,
From what you can remember.
I was doubled over as I went through the sliding doors. And I remember walking up to the receptionist, and I pulled out my wallet, and I don't have it with me, but I pulled out my wallet and insurance card, which, by the way, we did have insurance. And I handed it to her, and I said, "I'm having a heart attack." And she didn't say anything. She just looked at the card, handed it back to me. She said, "Have a seat right over there." I did. It wasn't 2 minutes till a couple of ladies opened the door and said, called my name. I went back. They put, patches on you and did an EKG and said, yes,
EKG.
You've had a bad heart attack. They put me in a wheelchair and rushed me back to the back room.
To have a heart cath.
Well, I went back to a main trauma unit first.
Okay, the heart services area.
And got undressed, and they said, "Is there someone you can call?" And I said, "My wife." And
so by the time, then I let our daughter know. And so by the time we got there, he was already back having a heart cath in the heart cath lab. And we just had to go to this little waiting room in the heart services part of the hospital. Yeah.
And I don't remember any of that. Once they got me back and undressed, and I called Karen. After that, I don't really remember anything that happened there at the med center until a few bits and pieces after that.
After you woke up, yeah. But it was very, as you can imagine, very troubling and scary. I've written, I think, my first blog post on Karen Girl Friday. I talked about how at one point when me and Megan were back and forth from the little waiting room to the big waiting room for critical care and ER, I said, I almost feel like this is a dream or a nightmare, and like it's not real. But then I'm sitting here and I'm going, no, this is real. And she said she felt the same way. And so it was very touch and go, like when his nurse, Dina, who was great, would come back and say, we're going to let you see him soon. He's doing pretty good, but we're still trying to get him stable. it was very touch and go. But before that, the cardiologist who did your heart cath, he came out and talked to us and said, well, first of all, I can't believe he drove up here and walked in the ER and that he made it, because your widowmaker was almost 100% blocked. And that's why they call it the widowmaker, because a lot of people don't survive it. And so he was a miracle from day one.
Yeah.
That you made it up there. And he said that you were still very sick and your heart was very sick. And he was able to balloon and open up arteries, but not able to do stents.
They put in an impeller there at the first hospital. They go
Heart pump, impeller heart pump.
Heart pump. They go through the groin and up and put it in there. And that's what I had. And
keeping you alive, keeping blood flowing through your heart.
Yeah.
So the first time the nurse finally, this was getting up to like probably 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and it had already been like 4 or 5 hours since you'd driven yourself to the ER. The nurse said you can come back and see him. With the lady who works with the company that does the heart pumps, she was applying pressure because they couldn't get it to quit bleeding from that artery and those blood vessels. And then they had us go back out, and a bunch of people were shifting in there. Then they finally, which scared me, I was all over the place most of this journey, but especially that day. And finally then she let us come back, and you were talking and awake and doing a little bit better. And then they started talking to us, the staff there, the nurse practitioner online, the cardiologist that was on call, and the nurses and stuff, and pretty much came in to talk to all three of us and said, we're going to transport you the next day to another hospital.
In the Nashville area.
Yes. And
that was Centennial?
Yeah, the first hospital you got transferred to in Nashville was Centennial. And here's the thing, they said it would be by air, by flight, but then we found out they would not give us clearance by flight because of weather. So it wasn't snowing or anything, but maybe the only thing we could think of is there were some wind advisories that day. So they transported you by an ambulance truck, right?
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember them saying they were going to. And I remember when they said we'd like to fly them down there, and I'm like, does our insurance cover that?
Yeah.
And one of the heart doctors looked at me and he was like, we got to get you down there. And anyway, that didn't work out, but they did put me in an ambulance. And I remember some of that trip. I was in and out till we got there. But when we got to Centennial, I don't remember a lot initially. So Karen can take you through that. But I do want to say this up front before I forget. Out of how many nights was I actually in the hospital?
You
or
were in
one
the
hospital or another?
You were in the hospital total for 6 weeks and a day.
There wasn't a night that went by that I didn't have a family member there, either Karen by my side, my daughter by my side, or my son by my side.
And he flew in from Minnesota.
And that's where we're going to get to at Centennial. When we got to Centennial, I think Karen can tell you it was still touch and go. Am I going to make it or not? And
it was at the first hospital too, and our daughter and I drove down the same day, and we just got there maybe like 5 or 10 minutes after him. So we traveled as well. 'Cause they wouldn't let me ride in the transport ambulance, or I wouldn't have been able to fly with you either.
Yeah.
So we went home. We went back to her house about 3 o'clock in the morning to get some clothes together and get a few hours of sleep before we had to leave and drive it. And thankfully, Mike's sister and her husband live a little Well, about 45 minutes from Nashville and the Nashville greater area.
Mm-hmm.
So they were there. Our nephew picked up our son from the airport and brought him there, and we got there. And so, and because our son Caleb hadn't gotten to see Mike since the Christmas before in 2024, we asked if he could go back with me just for a few minutes and see Mike before he went into surgery.
And this surgery was for him to put in a different device.
A different heart pump.
Supposed to be the Cadillac pump, right?
Right. So the first impeller that goes through the groin, I think it's called an Impella CP, if I remember right. And then the step-up impeller is Impella 5.5. And so the plan was to take that one out, put the Impella 5.5 in, which goes into your right shoulder and over to your heart to pump. The pump goes over to your heart. And it was supposed to be like an hour and a half, 2 hour.
Yeah.
But it kept going longer and longer. And so we had a little problems.
Yeah, obviously they were getting worried. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But what happened?
So when they removed the
First one.
the first Impella pump that goes through the groin, it had attached or something to an artery and when they got it out, it had made a hole. And so thoracic surgeon had to patch it. He lost a lot of blood, so he was giving blood there. And then when he came out of surgery, I know you don't remember that, but me and our daughter were the first ones back there, and he was still sedated, and it was rough. I immediately started crying, but had to give you units of blood over the next 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and all this time, obviously, I was clueless. I didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember you and Caleb coming in. I remember Caleb coming in and saying, "Hey, Dad,"
Yeah.
from when he flew in. But after that, everything's kind of a blur
Right.
through the surgery and things like this. Keep in mind, this is at Centennial Hospital in Nashville, and the whole time I'm there, it was like my nights and days got messed up. The drugs I was on, I was hallucinating really, really bad.
And you're in critical care, which they said it's
Yeah.
normal to get kind of like, get confused.
But I was having dreams and nightmares. It was just, ooh. And I think back on it, I'm like, man, I don't want to go through that again.
No. And that first night at Centennial after surgery, it was in critical care. A lot of the time you were in the hospital in critical care, which was most of the time, it was one-on-one, just one nurse to him, to one patient because of his care needs and everything. And then sometimes in between heart procedures and stuff, he would have a nurse that maybe had another patient. But he was in critical care the majority of the time. But that first night in Centennial after the heart surgery, it was very, very long night. I stayed there, and his nurse was great, but she didn't sit down the whole night.
Really?
I don't know if I told you that or not. She never sat down the whole night. It was crazy, all the things that had to be done, and the hospital can be a very tiring place.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah. When I did come to, I was like, wow, poor Karen's been through all this, not knowing if I'm going to live or not and make it, and running on very little sleep, staying in strange places and things. While I was at Centennial, y'all stayed at a hotel? Or
we stayed I stayed at the hospital. They stayed at your sister's, I think, 1 or 2 nights.
Okay.
And then our nephew that lives in the area in Franklin got us an Airbnb for a couple nights.
Andy and Miriam.
Yeah, Andy and Miriam, Friday, and I got to stay there one night. And then what we would do if we had a place like that, the 3 of us took turns, and then whoever had stayed the night before would go back to wherever we were staying and catch some sleep. And of course, Mike's sister Michelle, her husband Brian, and Andy, and his wife Miriam offered for any time for us to either come and stay or come and take showers and sleep. Then we found a hotel that was close by that gave us a hospital patient discount. And so that was nice. And we were there for maybe 2.5 weeks, something like that. And then we were on the waiting list for a place called Hospitality House that services all the families of patients in that area of Nashville, all the different hospitals. And so we were on a waiting list and we were able to get in there, and it was super nice and had been founded in the 70s for families who had loved ones in the hospital or ICU and needed a place to stay and shower and sleep and take naps and cook meals. And so it was nice, yeah.
So we've got a lot of thank yous that we'll share at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I know many of you, like Karen mentioned already, prayers, but financially how you helped. And
Mm-hmm.
Are we worthy of that? No. Is that the way God wanted to do it? Yeah. And we feel so blessed by all of your love.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that in a little bit. But how long was I at Centennial on this second?
You got to Centennial on November 19th, and you were there until the day after Thanksgiving, which was November 28th.
Okay. And then we found out that our insurance wouldn't cover a heart surgery at Centennial.
Just ICU, yeah.
That I had to be transferred to Ascension,
St. Thomas West,
which is in Nashville, maybe 5 or 10 minutes away from Centennial.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to set up a whole thing where they transferred me from one hospital to another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it all. Anyway, they got me transferred. The doctors there were
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know if they knew there was much hope for me.
Mm-hmm.
They ruled out open heart surgery. They ruled out so many things.
Well, not open heart surgery necessarily, but a lot of specific things. Like they had talked at the first hospital, Centennial, or the second hospital, about maybe trying to do bypass, which is, is an open heart surgery, I believe. But then they hadn't done the evaluation and test on you yet before you were transferred to St. Thomas West. And there they were doing viability tests on you, and they didn't feel like you could do a quadruple bypass, but they were going to go for stents. And then they decided that the viability test showed that stents would probably not help the blood flow to your heart. And so then the next step, and this is all over weeks, almost 4 weeks, then the next step to try was to wean you off the Impella 5.5, the heart pump, which he had been on at this point for 4 weeks, and see if his heart would come up and help with that, and just send him home on medication.
Now this I do remember, because I remember laying there and starting to struggle for breath,
Mm-hmm.
and my back lung, my lung here on my left side,
Mm-hmm.
got severe pain, and
Mm-hmm.
they had to stop backing me off because
Right.
I wasn't going to make it through that.
Right. For a whole day, they had turned it down, and overnight he was on the second level down from weaning him off.
Yeah.
And I was spending the night, and the nurse was saying, "Oh, I bet they'll be able to take this out tomorrow." And I was going, "Really? Don't they need to go to the step down first, the last step?" And then in the middle of the night, he got into a pulmonary episode where fluid filled up around his heart, and then he had to be on a breathing machine, which he had to be on at the other hospital at some point too. So it was really hard. So doctors, when they did their rounds the next day, came in and said, well, that didn't work. This proves that he needs to go home and have open heart surgery with the permanent heart pump called the ELVAD. And the ELVAD, LVAD, stands for left ventricle assisted device, and it's called the bridge to heart transplant.
We'd never heard of it. So we started working toward that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a few days because they couldn't get my kidneys to a place where they were healthy enough to be able to do the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually they did. I had the line over here. They kept telling Karen the whole time, I think.
From day one, that his kidneys and liver took a hit from the heart failure. It's called cardiogenic shock. And his liver enzymes healed and repaired themselves pretty soon, but not his kidneys. The whole time they said he may have to have dialysis. He may have to have dialysis, yeah.
Yeah, but thankfully, as many of you who've had to have that, I didn't. My kidneys come around and they set me up to have open heart surgery and put in the ELVAD pump, which is supposed to be a step to having heart replacement.
Heart transplant.
Yeah.
Some people choose not to, right?
Right. And I can live with it, right on for a while. I don't know how long. They say
they're made to last 12 to 15 years. Some people don't last that long on it, and the heart failure cardiologist there, one of them at St. Thomas, said normally that's because there was other underlying health reasons. They had cancer they were diagnosed with, or had a stroke, or something else.
Yeah. So the ELVAD consists of, it's in a bag right now. You can see right here. You see the white line that comes out. And that white line actually goes, this is called a drive line. And it goes in through my stomach and goes up to the pump that is continually pumping blood through to my heart.
Yes.
I don't have to always carry this bag, but it's about 5 pounds. My daughter did buy me some vests where all of this stuff, there's 2 batteries you have to have on you at all time. You can see all of it right here. This right here is the controller. You slide it out, and the 2 batteries on the side, you can see those.
They're in clips, and the batteries fully charged, 2 batteries fully charged, last for 17 hours together. Yeah.
So what we're saying is I can wear those on me instead of in this bag, which I have been doing some while I've been walking. Walked a half a mile the other day.
Yeah.
Go
Yay.
God. And but yeah, that's just part of it. So we have to always have those with us.
And an emergency backup one too.
You have to have 2 more batteries plus a controller with us at all times, no matter
A
where
backup
we're at.
controller, just in case something happens to this system's controller. We have to call the on-call line, and they have to FaceTime us and walk us through changing the system's controller out.
Yeah, so pretty big lifestyle change.
Now at night, he plugs in, he changes the battery, takes the battery clips off, puts them in a battery charger. We have 8 batteries total, and plugs into a power unit that's plugged into the wall. The system's controller's plugged into a power unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if we lose power, and back for several snowstorms, we both of us got a little anxious about that. Our power company is supposed to have us at the top of the list to get power restored. But if we start, and of course you all know if you followed our videos for a while, that we have a generator here on the van. We also, that runs off of gas that we have in our tank. And then we also have the Jackery generator that we took into the house that we kept charged. So what the hospital has told us and home health is if we start running low when the power's out, start running low on other methods to keep the pump going, we have to call 911. Or if the roads are clear, go to the local ER. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been feeling actually very well. I've got a great appetite. When I had my heart attack, I probably weighed somewhere around 210, 215. When I came home, I was under 170. And since New Year's Day, I've gained about 6 pounds, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm up to 174, I think, something like that. You can probably tell in my face. But if you see us out somewhere and you don't see me with the bag, I'll probably be pretty bulky around my midsection because I've got 2 big batteries on me and a pump, but we don't care.
No. And by the way, we got clearance this past week. We have had to go 3 times now to Nashville for clinic appointments and test a heart cath, a right ventricle heart cath, heart echoes, sometimes just a clinic appointment. And this past week, he was released to drive, released from home health PT, and so, which was a praise. Both of those are praises. So now they're going to set up cardiac rehab classes, outpatient locally in our area. Just a lot of things in his sternum from open heart surgery.
Healing.
But it's got to the place where now he can wear gear on the short sleeve shirts or hoodies or whatever, the vest. And I mean, it's still 5 pounds that weighs on you, but he can wear it now without having to worry about it damaging his sternum and everything. And drove the van recently for a little while. And so,
this is our first recording, though, since my heart attack.
It is, yeah. And a lot of you have been saying, can't wait to hear your story and see you all. And one of my last few blog posts, Mike, I had shared of scripture that, we have, that the Lord gives us a song of praise to sing and shout, and a story to tell. And I said, boy, we sure have a song of praise to sing and a story to share.
Amen.
Of what God has done and what God will continue to do, and we're thankful.
Yeah. Now, how long he's left me here on this earth, I don't know. There's no way of knowing. But while I'm here, guess what, folks? We're going to keep on doing what we've been doing.
That's right.
We're going to go. We're going to see this countryside, and we are going to laugh with you guys and eat with you guys and just have a great time as we go and figure it all out and take
along the way.
And take you all with us as we go.
Yeah.
Like Karen said, I'm still having to go back and forth to Nashville for checkups and the toughest one is where they go into my main artery over here, the right ventricle cath. I still got to have several of those done where they go in and they make sure everything's working. That's kind of a aggravating task. But let's thank a few folks, and I guess first off, because we were having to go back and forth to Nashville. I couldn't drive, and I didn't want Karen driving the van, but it was obviously the best vehicle to take
for your comfort and everything.
Because you're getting into the big city there and trying to figure things out and navigate your way around. So my brother Mark was such a big help.
He was.
He would drive us down there, and of course his son lives in Franklin and family, and so he would go stay with them, and we would stay at a hotel.
Yeah.
We still do. I'm talking past tense.
Yeah.
But we stay in a hotel, and then he comes back and picks us up, takes us to the appointment, and we drive back home.
But now that you're released to drive, maybe our next appointment is a month away. Might be able to drive the van down there, and hey, we could even spend a night in it if we want to.
Yes.
Although if you got to have a right ventricle heart cath, you may not feel like staying in the van.
But I was just giving a shout out there to Mark.
Yes.
He did more than just drive us. He helped get the van winterized and keep our vehicles running, and my tractor and all this stuff.
Mark, it's been what you've done has been priceless to us.
But so many people, I mean.
And our daughter drove me down there in her vehicle, and she didn't get to come home, go home and see their kids or anything for like 2.5 weeks, and then she stayed for a while and came back, and she tried to work from there remotely. Our son Caleb.
She was a sweetheart.
She was.
Did
Our
the whole
son
thing.
Caleb flew home for 2 days and then flew back, and besides that, he
2
stayed
days.
2 days.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
Our daughter Megan, she came home for Christmas and stayed with the kids, and then when she was planning to come back, we said, "Oh, you don't need to come back. We think we're getting out New Year's Eve." So,
Yeah.
and we did get to come home New Year's Eve, and so we had Megan's car there, and then Andy let us use Andy and Miriam let us use one of their extra vehicles that Caleb drove, and they were so great to chauffeur me around. I just wasn't physically and emotionally
In a good place.
in a good place to drive myself, from one place to the other in Nashville, and I just was a little bit more fragile than normal. And so they were so good to be my chauffeurs and drive me around and all that. So thank you, Megan and Caleb. We love you. Mark, Amy, his
Brian and
wife,
Michelle.
Brian and Michelle, Andy and Miriam. We love you guys so much.
Our family was unbelievable, and Mama Friday with her prayers.
She got to come down and visit.
Yeah.
Mike's brother, Mark, brought her down.
Yeah.
And she got to come to the hospital and see Mike. And thankfully, me and Michelle and Megan say, after you were looking, it was before open heart surgery, but he was in a good place where he had color back and he was setting up and he looked good. One of the nurses had shaved him the night before, and he just really looked good, and we were thankful.
Shave now, as a matter of fact.
We were thankful she got to see him in a good place. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? Well, I guess Karen's got a list of ton of people we want to thank, from doctors and nurses, but we want to thank you for your prayers and your support and your messages and your notes, and golly, if you haven't followed us on social media like Facebook, that's where Karen was posting updates. We would encourage you to do that because she didn't have as good of access to the YouTube stuff. But anyway, many of you follow us there, and I think there was over 1 million on the initial post.
There was 1.2 million views on my initial Facebook post. Yeah.
So we thank you for caring about
Yes.
us and loving us, and how could we ever repay you? There's no way. We know many of you gave financially.
Yes.
You didn't have to do that, and I don't think we ever asked for financial help.
No, other people that, like our daughter, said if you want to send something to her to help with hotel so we could stay close by, help with, just expenses there. And then our niece, Haley, my twin sister's daughter. Thank you, Haley. She set up a fundraiser crosses on PayPal that many of you gave toward. That just helped so much because, but so many people shared our post on Facebook and social media and Instagram. And we want to give a shout out to some of our YouTuber friends. I don't remember any of this. Smoky Mountain Faith Food Fund.
They shared it.
Yeah, so Christy and Brooks, thank you all so much for sharing so many of our posts and your sweet giving toward us, and just all the ways that you reached out to us saying you were praying for us in private message. To Shawnisa and Derek with NC Memory Makers for doing several posts on your channel. Thank you guys. That meant the world. A lot of people reached out to us and said, or sent us a card in the mail and said, I'm not on social media, so I didn't know about Mike until I saw it on NC Memory Makers.
And didn't you say that Yankee in the South mentioned
Yes, yes. Thank you, Will and Dawn, for sharing my first post and asking people to pray for us.
And we probably missed some people.
Smoky Mountain Blessed, I think you guys shared some of my posts. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's so many of you.
We'll miss a lot.
Yes,
and we
I'm
apologize.
sorry. I'm sorry for what we're missing. There was just so many, thousands of comments and private messages and hundreds of shares that in order for me to be present with Mike in the hospital, I just could not get around to seeing every comment, to replying to every comment, to thanking everybody who shared.
Mm-hmm.
It was just overwhelming. There's no way I could have kept up with it.
Yeah.
But we know God saw us and saw you, and He knows.
He used you. He really did.
He used you. I mean, and just even though, like Mike mentioned, we have insurance.
I mean, the encouragement is just crazy.
Yeah, the encouragement you all gave us, like I said, was priceless. The prayers, the greatest gift you could give us. I mean, God,
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Sees our and hears our prayers and sees our valleys that we're walking through. And my friend from work, Ariel, came down several times, once with her dad and just once by herself, to spend some time with me and, pray with me and bring me care baskets.
Amazing family.
Yes, and it's an amazing work family, and just so many people concerned, about us. And the medical bills and claims are insurmountable, but we do have good insurance. And, like it's not covering everything, but the fundraising has helped tremendously. And then, of course, we went into a new year, but we're going to meet our deductible and our out-of-pocket network pretty quick because of all the things. But we just can't
probably every year for a while.
We can't be more grateful.
Yeah.
We can't. But one thing, Ariel, I wanted to mention that Ariel said is that I kept saying, every hospital and every doctor has said, it's been touch and go, but the only reason Mike is alive is because the blood, the heart pumps are the only thing that's keeping him alive, the only thing. And Ariel said, yes, the heart pump is helping keep him alive, but God's keeping him alive. And so I read something in my devotion this morning that said, if you're still here, it means God's still writing your story.
That's right.
So.
I know you want to share some of this.
Makes me want to cry.
Some of this right here with.
Yeah. So, and I tell people this all the time too. We spent Thanksgiving in ICU. My birthday, December the 1st. Christmas in ICU. Winston's second birthday. In ICU, and we didn't get to come home, but we did on New Year's Eve, so we got to come home to New Year. But I wouldn't have traded it for anything because we were given the gift of life.
Yeah.
We were given the gift of life, and that's the best present we could have gotten for all those celebrations.
Show them one or two of those real quick.
So we celebrated my birthday down there in the ICU waiting room, and Megan's family came for Thanksgiving and gave me a little party. This was one of the gifts they gave me, this scripture verse coloring book that has scriptures, and I kept some notes in it in the front, like for my birthday and where we were at, surgery date, moved to step down floor, all the hospital dates and everything. So where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew 6:21, and I have the date 12:2.
She would sit beside me at the hospital in the room and color one of these.
Yeah.
Look, to show them how beautiful. She's great at stuff. Let's see it.
God
Can
so
y'all see
loved
that?
the world. Let me show them your favorite one.
Please.
Let's see which one. Oh, I like this one. Love your enemies. Pray for those who. This is one of my favorite. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. This was 12/25. This was Christmas Day.
Yep.
From the hospital,
Yep.
So it's just, with God, all things are possible. This was
That's Matthew. What,
November the 30th.
1926?
Yeah, 1926. And we know for sure that with God, all things are possible.
So where do we go from here? Well, we're going to keep on making videos, which, by the way, while I'm healing in the next few weeks, we had already recorded probably 8 videos that we're going to be rolling out after this one. And we wanted y'all to know that. We may put a little note at the beginning that says before Mike's got sick or heart attack, whatever, so others will know. We know not everybody will see this. We also want you to make sure you're still subscribed. Just pause the video and scroll down and just make sure, and you got the bell icon turned on, because since we haven't put a video out in a while, they could have dropped you. Who knows?
And by the way, we want to thank you all. I put a note out on social media, and I think my blog post that was about Mike and our journey several times about it would really help our channel if you watch some of our videos that are already there, our content that's already sitting in our channel. And so many of you would send notes and say, you know, we're watching your YouTube channel right now. We just watched such and such video and that kind of a thing. And that really helped. And we so appreciate that. And because we were away from Winston, we need to thank Brandy and her husband Chad, our friends, who kept Winston so much of the time. And then our friends Crystal and Wayne, who also helped keep Winston. He had 2 little friends there. One house, it was a little fur baby, Lulu, and the other house, I think her name was Dolly, the dog. So he got to see them. And so thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Just knowing he was being loved and cared for made all the difference.
My daughter was so nice to keep a running list of every nurse and doctor that touched me during all 3 hospitals.
She posted this list, and at the end, we gave her some of the PT, some of the home health people who have been here. So anyway, just real quick, just because this makes you think about all the hands that and kindness that helped care for him and touched his life in some way through this journey. Dina, Dr. Chang, Dr. Laney, Nick, MK. Do you want to read some?
No, you go ahead.
Zach, Dr. Todd, Lauren, Colton, Dr. Gage, Emma, June, Valerie, Jose, Dr. Lee, Josh, Becca, Dr. LGV or something like that. We called him Dr. I for short. He told us to. Caroline, Erica, Dr. Brooksbank, Bree, Courtney, Hope, Dr. Chomsky, Eldos, Anna, Laura, Dr. Kaiser, Savannah, Dr. Kromsky, Frankie, Elise, Dr. Big Lane, Katie, Maggie, Lizzie, Spencer, Crystal, Aubrey, Dr. Schulster, Emily, Kiera, Dr. Houston, Dr. Scoville, Cameron, Erica, Dr. McGrain, Evan, Blake, Drew, Stephen, Dustin, Adam, Michelle, Irene, Ross, Heather, Oliver, Tricia, Jesse, Sammy, Sierra, Dr. Alcott, Abby, Charlene, Jeannie, Allie, Eli, Willow, Rachel, Tammy, Lewis. I mean, wow.
Yeah, thank all of y'all. I know this has been a long video. Looks like we're 40 minutes now.
And
anyway,
listen,
it's hard to tell our story.
In short.
Yeah. So.
And we didn't bring them out here, but we have stacks of cards that you all have sent us throughout this journey. And thank you so much for that. I would read them to Mike. We would have family members try to get by our post office box and bring us mail. And then, of course, we got a lot when we got home. We got a lot of mail, and you know, I read stuff to him and prayed scriptures over him. And I wanted to tell this one last story. One time when I was praying over your hospital bed, I guess it was because it was just a real hard time. I don't know, you were going through procedures or something. And you, like every line, you would say, amen, in Jesus' name, in Jesus' name, after every line. I don't know if you remember that or not. It was so sweet.
We'll never forget you.
Yes.
And if we decide to go on and have a heart transplant, we hope you'll join that journey. But we definitely want you to join our family here on the road as we travel. And Mr. Winston camping, whatever we get into, we're going to move forward and see what God leads us to. We've got a purpose, and we've always known what that purpose was. And we hope you know what your purpose is in life. And
Yes.
there are going to be ups and downs, just like for our family. It's for my health, and we get through them, whether He takes you on to heaven or not, if you're a believer in Christ. So,
But the Lord was with us the whole time,
Yeah.
and all the peaks and valleys, and we can't give Him enough praise. And we saw so many miracles along the way, and Mike is a living, walking miracle, and we give God all the glory for that. Love you guys.
I hope to see you out there on the road somewhere, some campground,
Yes. Until next time, we're Fridays.
forever.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Say bye.
Winston's like, I didn't get to say anything.
But he only barked one time when he saw something out the window,
Yeah.
so I had to shut the shade.
All right.